The sound of a slap echoed like a thunderclap through the Charleston County Courthouse. Two officers, both grinning, stood over a woman in civilian clothes whose cheek now bore a red mark. They thought they were flexing power. What they didn't know was that the woman they had just struck was Fire Captain Isabel Navarro, one of the most decorated fire service veterans in the state. And within minutes, the foundation of their corruption would begin to crumble, piece by piece. Charleston, South Carolina, where antebellum mansions sit beside modern injustice. The charm of old cobblestone streets masks the deep-rooted systems that have lingered too long, hidden in plain sight behind polite conversation and forced smiles. Captain Isabel Navarro arrived at the courthouse just after 7 a.m., walking with the deliberate, steady pace of someone used to making decisions that meant the difference between life and death. The morning air was thick with Atlantic salt and tension. At 45, Isabel moved with the grace of a career responder, her posture proud, her eyes clear, her presence commanding even when she wore nothing more than jeans and a navy button-down. She was one of the first Latino women to earn the title of fire captain in Charleston's storied but rigid fire department. 25 years of fighting fires, leading evacuations, mentoring fresh recruits, and being the calm in chaos had earned her the badge. But today wasn't about fires. Today, she was here for someone else. Miguel Vega, one of her youngest recruits, eager, capable, and the kind of rookie she'd go to battle for, had been charged with vandalism after an altercation with two city officers, Derek Mason and John Talley. Isabel had seen enough to trust her instincts, and her instincts screamed that something about Miguel's arrest wasn't just wrong, it was rehearsed, fabricated. She chose to blend in. No uniform, no fanfare. Just another concerned citizen sitting quietly in the third row. But from her seat, she could see everything. Officers Mason and Talley stood at ease near the prosecution's table, exuding a smugness that reeked of invincibility. She'd heard of them in passing. Whispers of excessive force, botched reports, and sudden amnesia from witnesses. Nothing ever stuck. Complaints vanished. Victims stopped calling back. Miguel looked broken. His public defender offered him the legal equivalent of a shoulder shrug. And when Officer Mason grabbed Miguel by the arm during recess with unnecessary force, Isabel rose. "Is that necessary, officer?" Her voice was calm but firm. Mason turned sharply. "Excuse me. He's not resisting. You don't need to manhandle him." Officer Talley approached. "And who might you be?" "Just a concerned citizen," Isabel replied evenly. Mason's lips curled into a sneer. "Well, maybe concerned citizens should mind their own business." She didn't flinch. Or maybe someone needs to mind their behavior in a courtroom. "You people never learn," Mason muttered. And with that, his open palm struck her face, hard. The cracks silenced the room. Her head barely turned with the impact. The red mark on her cheek bloomed quickly, but the look in her eyes, steady, deliberate, was what made Mason recoil half a step. "Did you just assault a civilian in open court, Officer Mason?" she asked, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You were interfering with police business," he snapped. "Was I?" She reached into her back pocket and pulled out a worn leather wallet, flipping it open. Fire Captain Isabel Navarro. Station 12. 25 years in active service. Mason's expression collapsed. Talley stepped back. "You're lying," Mason stammered. "Not in uniform, right? Not what you expected. Or not someone you thought could end your career." The bailiff stepped forward. "Captain Navarro, would you like to file a formal complaint?" "I would," she replied, turning to the spectators in the room. "And I believe several people witnessed what just happened." Dozens of phones were already raised, recording. A court clerk gave a sharp nod. "This is ridiculous," Talley barked. "It was a misunderstanding." "No," Isabel said, never taking her eyes off them. "It was abuse of power. And your department has a long track record of sweeping it under the rug. That ends today." The judge, an older man with weary eyes and a military demeanor, banged his gavel. "This court is in recess for 15 minutes. As the courtroom emptied, Mason and Talley were pulled aside by their precinct sergeant. The whispers were frantic, the glances nervous. When Isabel returned, everything had changed. She was now in full-dress uniform. Navy blue. Captain bars gleamed on her shoulders, and medals of valor and service adorned her chest. Her posture was unmistakable now, a leader entering battle. Behind her walked Fire Chief Roman Delacruz, and a woman in a charcoal gray suit who moved with the quiet intensity of someone trained to dismantle empires. She approached the judge directly. "Your Honor," she began clearly, handing over a folder. "Detective Dana Harlow, Internal Affairs. I'd like to submit these documents into evidence." The judge opened the folder. Page after page, complaints, reports, interviews. "What is this?" he asked, flipping through. "Evidence of a pattern," Isabel said. "For the past 3 years, my department has submitted reports concerning officers Mason and Talley. Reports that mysteriously vanished. Testimonies that were recanted under pressure. Firefighters and EMTs saw things. We documented them. And every time, those files disappeared." "Lies," Mason shouted. "Order," the judge snapped. Chief Delacruz stepped up. "We've taken every possible route through internal channels. All blocked. Until today. Because today," Isabel added, "you picked the wrong woman to slap." By noon, the courthouse was transformed. Internal affairs officers moved quickly, seizing personnel records, interviewing staff, reviewing surveillance. News vans appeared, and reporters swarmed the building. Social media exploded. Inside the main courtroom, Detective Harlow revealed a digital network connecting Mason, Talley, and 6 other officers to a single man, Captain Jeffrey Sloan, known for his political ambitions and his public stance as tough on crime. Captain Sloan buried complaints, reassigned whistleblowers, intimidated witnesses, Harlow explained. He created a shadow system where corruption thrived unchecked. A young officer from the back raised his hand. "I filed a report when Mason used a taser on a homeless man. The next day, I was transferred to night shifts in West End." His voice cracked as he spoke, but his courage broke the floodgates. More officers came forward. Then a clerk. Then a paralegal. All with similar stories. Lies. Threats. Fear. Chief Delacruz stepped forward with a flash drive. "Recovered bodycam footage," he said, "from supposedly corrupted files." The video left no room for doubt. Mason planting evidence, Talley laughing while intimidating a teenage witness. The judge's voice was a controlled growl. "This isn't negligence. This is criminal conspiracy." The district attorney stood. "Your Honor, we request immediate arrest warrants for officers Mason, Talley, and Captain Sloan, pending a full departmental investigation." So ordered. That night, retaliation came swiftly. A brick shattered Isabel's front window. The note read, "Back off or burn." Her tires were slashed. Her garage was spray-painted with the word traitor. "You should lay low," Chief Delacruz urged. "Stay at a hotel." Isabel shook her head. "If I disappear, so does everyone's courage." Her crew stepped up. Off-duty firefighters rotated in shifts to watch her house. Station 12 walked her to and from work. And then something even more powerful happened. Charleston showed up. Families she'd saved rallied around her. Neighbors cleaned the graffiti. Veterans stood guard at night. Local businesses offered to install cameras and alarms. It became more than one woman's stand. It became a movement. The smear campaign followed. Anonymous tips. Fake social media accounts. A doctored video suggesting she drank on duty. "They're trying to break your image," Detective Harlow warned. "Let them try," Isabel said. "They're attacking what they think I stand for. But I stand for something they can't touch." Weeks later, the federal courtroom was at capacity. Every seat filled. Outside, lines of citizens snaked down the street. The hearing drew national media. Journalists, sketch artists, officials from D.C., all watching. Dawson, Talley, Sloan. 3 men in polished suits now stripped of their shields. Isabel stood in uniform once more as she took the stand. "Captain Navarro," the federal prosecutor began. "Tell us what happened." She told them everything. Clearly, calmly. The slap, the intimidation, the years of ignored warnings. The buried truths. The system designed to protect itself. "And why?" the prosecutor asked. "Did you risk everything?" She turned toward the 3 men. "Because that slap wasn't about me. It was about the power they thought they had, the silence they expected, and the fact that people like me weren't supposed to fight back." "Isn't it true?" the defense attorney countered. "You wanted the spotlight?" "No," she replied. "I wanted accountability. I don't care if no one remembers my name. I care that they remember this can't keep happening." 3 months later, the verdicts came down. Sloan, 15 years. Mason and Talley, 12 years each. 37 criminal cases dismissed due to misconduct. A civilian oversight board formed. Reform committees launched across 5 counties. Isabel stood in Station 12's kitchen pouring coffee when the news played. "You're a hero," one of her crew said. She smiled gently. "I just did what we all should do when we see wrong." Later, alone in her office, she touched her cheek, the one Mason had struck. The skin had healed, but the memory remained, not as trauma, but as ignition. A spark that turned into a fire, not of destruction, but of truth. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't running into a burning building. Sometimes it's standing your ground when the fire comes for you.